In our digital world, we're always told to trust what we see. But should we? Today, we're going to dive into some tech that could totally change how we verify reality itself. Think about it. Every single day, you're just bombarded with images, right? But in an age where seeing is believing is kind of, well, a thing of the past, how do you even begin to tell what's real from what's fake? And this problem is only getting worse. Photos get manipulated, deep fakes are becoming scarily convincing, and camera feeds can be straight up hacked. This just chips away at our trust in the very images that shape how we see the world. But what if? What if we could just flip that whole script on its head? That's the revolutionary idea we're digging into today, a technology that embeds a sort of digital birth certificate into an image the very instant it's captured. Okay, so to really get why this new solution is such a big deal, we first have to understand the problem with how cameras work right now. And it really all boils down to timing. So take a look at this. This is the journey from a single photon of light to the finished photo you see on your screen. Light becomes an analog signal, then it's turned into raw digital data, and then it gets heavily processed to look good. The key thing to realize here is that from the very beginning, the image data is being changed by the camera's own hardware. Right, so here's the absolute crux of the issue. If you put a digital signature on the image at the end of this whole process, you're basically saying, I trust every single step that came before this. A hacker could get into the processor, alter the image before it ever gets signed, and you'd be signing a forgery without having a clue. The trust boundary is just way too big. And that, right there, brings us to the breakthrough idea. What if we could shrink that trust boundary down to almost nothing? What if we could actually embed the security, the notary, right into the image sensor chip itself? So the heart of all this is something called public key cryptography. It's how you create a secure digital signature. For a long, long time, the gold standard was this method called RSA. But now there's a newer, much more efficient way called Elliptic Curve Cryptography, or ECC. And trust me, the difference between them is a total game changer. And this chart, wow, it just lays it all out perfectly. To get the same level of security, an RSA key has to be massive, over 3,000 bits. An ECC key, only 256 bits. And just look at the difference that makes. ECC is way smaller, it's faster, it uses less power, and it takes up less physical space on the chip. So when you think about it, for a tiny, power-sipping device like an image sensor that needs to sign images super fast, it's not even a contest. ECC is the only way to go. But, the best algorithm in the world is totally useless if someone steals the secret key. And that's where the hardware root of trust comes in. Literally, think of it like a tiny, impenetrable vault built right into the silicon. It does all the heavy lifting, all the signing operations, but that secret private key, it never leaves those protected walls. Ever. Okay, so we've got a killer algorithm and a super secure vault. Awesome. But that leads to a really, really important question. What about the key itself? Yeah, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If some manufacturer just injects the keys at the factory, what's to stop a bad actor, or heck, even a government, from installing a backdoor by just keeping a copy of all those keys? The whole thing would be pointless. So the solution, the really elegant solution, isn't to store some pre-made key and just hope for the best. No, the answer is to have the key generate itself, right from the sensor's own unique, random physical imperfections. And this is done with something that sounds complicated, but the idea is brilliant. It's called a physically unclonable function, or PUF. And the analogy is perfect. It's a silicon fingerprint. See, just like your fingerprint, every single microchip has these microscopic random variations from when it was made. A PUF uses these tiny differences to create a key that is physically tied to that one specific device. You can't clone it. And this is the coolest part of the whole thing. The image sensor actually uses its own pixels to do this. There are these special pixels on the sensor that are totally shielded from light. They still produce a tiny, random electronic signal. It's called dark shot noise. By measuring that noise, the sensor generates its very own secret key. It's not injected by anyone, it's born from the silicon. It's an intrinsic property of the hardware itself. Which means, no backdoor. It's not even possible. So, okay, that's a lot of tech talk. What does all this actually mean for you and me? Because this isn't just some academic curiosity. This is technology that could fundamentally change how we all consume information. I mean, the real-world applications here are just staggering. Think about it. News photos with a verified authentic badge that you can actually check. Body cam footage from a crime scene that is provably, unchangeably real. Sensor data for self-driving cars that can't be spoofed by an attacker. Or medical images where you know for a fact that the integrity is guaranteed. This is about restoring trust where we need it most. What this all leads to, really, is a new reality. It creates what you could call a two-tiered system of media. You'll have verifiable content with a cryptographic proof of its origin, and then you'll have everything else. And that gives all of us the power to make much smarter judgments about the stuff we see online. And that really leaves us with one final big question. In the future, as this tech gets more and more common, it might just flip our expectations completely. The question will no longer be, hey, is this image fake? But instead, can this image prove that's real?